Hi, this is Megan from the Animal University. One of the subjects I wanted to cover today is it's springtime here in the Northeast, and landscapers are out spraying the chemicals, the pesticides, the fertilizers, and when we're walking our dogs, they're not just getting it on their paws and then maybe licking them when they get back home, but they're tracking it through your house, your bedding, everywhere they go. And there are organic options, more safer options, less chemical options that typically the landscapers will tell you keep your pet off for 2-3 days, which isn't always feasible if you live in a apartment complex or just a suburb where most houses have the landscapers put these chemicals down. So over time, it may seem like it doesn't initially affect your animal, and this could be your cats, your farm animals, whomever, that are tracking across your property, and just it becomes airborne as well, the fumes, and then when it rains, you have everything trickles down into whatever stream or water system you have in your neighborhood, and then eventually you have the evaporation. So what we're doing not only to the properties, the soil, the yards, it's also then coming back to kind of bite us, where not just the animals are getting exposed, the wild animals, they can't get to their food and their shelters because everything is now inundated with these pesticides and the fertilizers, the sprays, the pellets, and everything else. And then it's affecting our animals, and then it's basically we're going to be affected by it as well, not just in the home environment where the dog is kind of tracking around the place with this residue on their feet and their fur, but also with the outside when it evaporates and it trickles down into the water system. So there are organic options. I've used many organic options on my lawn, and the lawn is always healthy, green, and it doesn't look that artificial green. I know it looks beautiful and healthy, but at what expense? I mean, there are more non-chemical methods that we can definitely use that would help everyone all around. And you just have to ask your landscaper. Sometimes landscapers will have you buy the product and they'll put it down, or you can put it down. But if the landscaper is just flat out against it or is insisting that there's only chemical means and that's the only way to do it, maybe find another landscaper, because there are a lot more like holistic natural landscapers that are popping up all around, and they put out the flags too, but it's usually like a non-chemical little notification they'll put out that something was put down. Therefore you don't need that strict, stay off the property for so many hours or days. But that's just some food for thought, because what we do to the animals and the environment, we're ultimately doing to ourselves, since we all are connected. And then it could just over time, it doesn't seem like it affects your animal, but as they age and other stressors come into play, their body can only take so much. And then these chemicals that are in their environment that they just can't get around every day eventually will start building up in their system and can start causing problems. It could be digestive issues. Maybe they're eating more grass, or they're just not looking right, or it could just be something more subtle that you can talk to your vet about, and then just see what kind of alternatives there are. But it's definitely about putting the power back into your decisions, your choices, and your pocket. It may cost a little bit more, but in the long run, if it's a healthier alternative for you, your family, and then the environment and all the wildlife, then it's a little bit more money, but it's going to actually provide more health in the long run, um, instead of a cheaper means, which could be more chemical based, that may be a little bit cheaper, easier on your pocket in the short term, but the long term, what effects there could be the health effects, and God forbid a diagnosis, and then medical bills, vet bills, all that ensues. So it's just putting the power back into our hands and educating ourselves, and the animals have a good way of showing us. A lot of times we won't do something for ourselves, but if we see our animals that are maybe suffering or have to endorse something like this, where if you live in a condo complex where you just have a certain amount of area for your dog to go out in, and if you can't access it for a couple days until the chemicals wear off or seep in, it does make it hard on them and you, and it's stressful all around. But it's I think in the long run, it just helps educate ourselves to say there's, a healthier, safer alternative for most things. And it just maybe takes a little education on our part, getting online, doing some research, and then just, having the courage to speak up, to tell the landscaper or your homeowners association, whomever it is that, hires the contractors and whatnot that come to the property, to maybe just offer a suggestion, and then maybe just band together with some other homeowners that are pet owners that, feel the same way as you do. And if you have to get a petition or some signatures together, if it's easy, that's great. If you need a little bit more backing in order to make a switch over to have a landscaper go to a more organic product, then that there's ways to work through that. But I think it's just educating yourself and getting some other people on board if you can, and then just it's just for the good of for all of us. Okay, so good luck with that, and you can always drop comments and be in touch if you need help with anything. Thank you.